So we're going to review another wheated bourbon, which has easily become one of my favorite categories of whiskey. We're going to review Holiday Soft Red Wheat Bottled in Bond Missouri Straight Bourbon Whiskey. So my experience with Holiday is just one bottle that precedes this. I had ordered the Holiday Rickhouse Proof Soft Red Wheat on sealbacks because it was nowhere in New Jersey, and I didn't even see anything from Holiday in New Jersey pretty much until now. I really did like that bottle. It was a high proof. It was very, very good. When I blinded it against the maker's cask strength and a few others, I do not recall it winning. I recall it being very good, but I believe it's still the makers, and I think even the Old Emmer. That was one that surprised a lot of people, but I think that beat it out. But it was very good. So I had that one and nothing since. And today happened to stop in Total Wine in Eatontown, New Jersey on the way to dinner. I just happened to see this on a shelf, and I'm like, you know what? I mean, I like to try. I like that Rickhouse proof. Generally, I like to kind of go from a lower proof to a higher proof. This is going from a higher proof to a lower proof. Not that 100 proof is low, sort of, medium. But I said, I want to give this a try, kind of compare it. My thought process, just being my own experiences, I'm expecting maybe to like this a little less than I did the Rickhouse proof. But I'm sure if that was very good, I'm sure this isn't going to be. I'd be very surprised if I really didn't like this. But anyway, so this is the only time I've ever seen it in New Jersey in any store. So I said, let's go for it, because the last time it just had to be sealbacks. And that gets expensive when you add in the shipping and all that. So this is a bottled in bond with all the requirements of a bottled in bond. It is labeled a Missouri Straight Bourbon Whiskey. What I love about Holiday, it was on the Rickhouse proof, and this bottle, I have not had the rye bourbon, the regular bourbon, the rye bourbons, but they do the same thing. They have all this information right here. I'll spin the camera around after. It tells you all this information as follows. It's distilled. This was distilled fall 2018, bottled November 2024, so it's aged 6 years. It has, being a bottled in bond, it has on that label, and it has on the back too the marking of DSP-MO-5, which tells where the distillery, where it was distilled and bottled and everything. Rickhouse B floor, and it labels all the floors, and it tells you which floors these barrels came from. In this case, 84% of the bottles came from floor 4, 16% of the bottles came from floor 5, and that's it. All the other floors, nothing. And it shows 7 floors. So what you're looking at is the middle floors to slightly higher, but basically looking at the middle. Most of it is from the middle floors, which makes sense. Mash bill, 73% corn, 15% soft red wheat, 12% malted barley. Comparison, I think Maker's Mark has about 16% wheat. If you're looking at something similar. What's interesting that I did learn, I didn't realize this, is that for the regular bourbon, the rye bourbon, it's 15% rye. So literally, when I think that one came first, when they decided to make a wheated bourbon, they just literally just took out the 15% rye, put in the 15% soft red wheat, kept the 73 corn, 12 malted barley the same. That's very unique, because I don't know if that's always done with distilleries that do rye bourbons and wheated bourbons. And just really quick, companies, McCormick Distilling Company, Distillers, Holiday Distillery. And again, the bottled and bond requirements is, which I've gone through in other videos, has to be aged at least 4 years. This is 6, produced by a single distiller in a single season, 100 proof, bottled at the bottle information has to say where it was distilled, and if it was bottled somewhere else has to say that. It does, and aged in a federally bonded warehouse. What I don't like about this, I guess it's good in the sense I think it keeps the whiskey probably better. I just don't get why they have these screw-off caps. It just take something away from it. I think it would look a lot better. Just the whole experience is better when there's a cork. So we're not going to do that. We're just gonna take the label off, and we're gonna get into it. I just wish they had a cork, but here we go. Just quickly show this nice label in front, and here's this amazing transparency that I love. This is what I was saying about the floors. You can see 84% floor 4, 60% floor 5. Okay, so we have this poured up, no cork pop, screw top. And what's interesting here is, for the comparison, this is soft red wheat. I believe the Maker's Mark is the red winter wheat. But I recall when I had the Rickhouse proof, it says soft red wheat. It's not that soft. Not in a bad way, but I think the name is a little deceiving, because I think actually quite opposite. I think there's a little bite to it, but let's see. That was the Rickhouse proof, and all again in a good way. But let's see what the Bottled and Bond's like. Color is medium. Let's give it a nose. I am getting a nice weeded, more of a typical weeded bourbon smell. Maybe a little cinnamon smell in there. All right, let's give it a taste. Cheers. It's coming back maybe now. The Rickhouse proof, we'll say Rickhouse proof minus, a lower proof, but it doesn't feel weak at all. Doesn't feel weak. It's been a while since I had that too. I'm trying to see. I'm almost getting like, I don't know if I get like, I'm getting fruit flavor. It's not necessarily like that weeded bourbon pastry like I'm getting from the Bardstown. But it's a very, very nice taste. Of course, we're going to do some comparisons with other weeded bourbons here because, the Bardstown's hard to beat. I will tell you that much, especially the high wheat. But proof-wise, actually, it's pretty close. This is very nice. This is very nice. You look at the price of this. I'm trying to think, like price-wise, this may not be as competitive as the Bardstown. I think have very, very well priced because those are like in the high 40s. This is $60. And the Rickhouse proof I think was a little bit more. So price-wise, I think those are better. Makers also, I think fairly competitive. I'm gonna have to pour myself another glass of this. This went pretty quick, but I would say I think it's very good. I remember, the Rickhouse proof had a little bit more to it, being that it was probably another 20. I don't know if it was 120, but it was somewhere. Let's call it around 20 proof points higher, plus or minus. But first blush, this is very good. I got a lot of fruit, cinnamon, typical wheated bourbon, but it's a soft red wheat. It definitely has a little punch to it. So I think that name is kind of deceiving, but I would say this is very good. Again, price wise, I think there are others that may be a little more competitive, but it's the first time I've ever seen this by me, and I figured it was worth a shot. Always love a Bottled and Bond. Love a weeded bourbon. I think that's become clear to me. I think I've kind of identified that category of whiskey that I really, if there's any one of them that's probably the most, the one I kind of gravitate to the most, I'd say it's weeded bourbon. So this is a good one. We're going to get more into this one, and we'll also do probably some comparisons with it. But Holiday, soft red wheat, Bottled and Bond. It's a good start so far. Cheers.